You have one new message. Translating. Disney and Pixar's Hoppers is now available on Disney+.
You could say that again.
Critics are calling it Pixar's funniest movie ever and a wildly entertaining ride. Blizzard Potato. It's certified fresh and verified hot.
Now we party.
This is incredible!
Wow, I am clearing the rest of the day.
Disney and Pixar's Hoppers, now available on Disney+. Rated PG.
Badass of the Week is produced by High Five Content and $7 Productions. February 22nd, 2009. Athens, Greece. It is yard time inside maximum security Korydallos prison. In their towers and down on the concrete, the guards are on high alert, hands gripping their assault rifles tightly. Security has doubled and tensions have been high since the Greek government did the impossible and captured the country's most notorious criminal, Vassilis Paleokostas. Vassilis is a legendary bank robber. He successfully kidnapped two of the richest, most powerful billionaires in Greece. But to the public, he isn't a monster. He is the Greek Robin Hood. Vassilis has a strict rule against violence and has spent decades giving millions of euros from his stolen loot to impoverished families. He's bought tractors for poor farmers, built orphanages, and funded schools for local villages. The people love him so much that they've helped him remain uncatchable for the past 20 years. But now the authorities have him. His trial is scheduled for tomorrow morning, and the state is determined to keep him locked down. Then, a heavy thumping sound echoes in the distance. The guards look up, eyes widening, as a helicopter approaches. It comes closer and closer, and soon it hovers over the prison yard. The guards shout, and when it doesn't respond, they unleash a hail of gunfire, pinging rounds off the fuselage. But suddenly, the heli's side door kicks open. A mysterious woman leans out of the chopper, her hair blowing in the wind. She pulls an AK-47 and begins unleashing a blazing wall of covering fire directly into the guard towers. Then, she drops a rope ladder down towards the yard. Vassili Paleokostas doesn't hesitate. He sprints through the smoke, grabs the rungs of the ladder, and holds on tight as the pilot opens the throttle and swings the heli upwards through a hail of bullets. Hanging from the ladder, soaring above the prison walls, and off towards the Athens skyline, Vassili Paleokostas looks down at the stunned, helpless guards 300 feet below, laughs, and flips them off. The Greek Robin Hood has done it again. Hello, and welcome back to Badass of the Week, the show where we tell the badass history of badasses. My name is Ben Thompson, and today I am joined by a very special guest, returning to the show. I'm joined by Todd Weiser, the host of Heist Club. Todd, thank you so much for coming back to the show. It's really awesome to have you here.
Ben, thank you for having me back. It's my pleasure. I am in no way more of a badass than the last time we did this. I thought I would have trained up a little bit, but nope. Same old me, but I'll do my best to hang with our badass today that we're talking about.
Yes, we are all we're all just. I mean, I haven't improved in badassery either. We're just here to appreciate badasses rather than imitate them ourselves.
I was wondering if one day it just like starts seeping into you though, Ben. All of a sudden you're like 6'5" and giant muscles and not afraid of anything, but not yet.
You know, it's actually worse because what happens is you're like, I know how a badass would handle this. He would just like go up there and like kick that guy's ass. And then it's like, that doesn't actually impart the ability to do that. Knowing what a badass would do in a situation doesn't always mean that it's a good idea for you personally to attempt it.
Right.
So
That's right. Well, you live and you learn that way. Okay, that's not a part of who I am and my personality. Moving on. Yes.
And I feel like it might be similar for your show as well. You might have a better understanding now on how to plan an amazing heist, though, as to my knowledge, you haven't executed any yet.
I have not. We've made that joke every now and then. Like, we shouldn't make this joke because what if someone actually robs the thing we make the joke about and then they think it's us? We recently did an episode about Edvard Munch's The Scream, and we had done Mona Lisa before. So we're like, okay, Starry Night. Is that the only one that hasn't been stolen? should we go steal it? Hey, MoMA, here we come. And I was like, uh-oh, I live in New York. The MoMA's nearby. If someone steals it, it's on us. So no, I know more about how to pull things off, or even more so how not to pull things off. But I do not think that means I could actually do it. I know the dedication and time it takes. I look at my life and like, nope, I don't have that. And also I don't want to spend time in prison. That is for sure.
Yes.
By the way, neither did the subject of our episode this week. He did not want to spend time in prison either. So
yes,
we have that in common.
That's very true. We are combining our forces once again. We talked about Butch Cassidy last time, a badass who also executed heists. And we're doing the same thing today. We are going to talk about Vassilis Paleokostas, who is maybe one of my favorite bank robbers ever. Can you have a favorite bank robber? I guess you can. You must.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean to put like his poster on your wall, but it could still be your favorite.
Yes, that's fair enough. This is a story. This is a more recent story. It's a more modern story. It's out of Greece, and it is going to start weird and get weirder and weirder and weirder.
Accurate.
Yes. This is a guy who is going to perform a couple of really, really high stakes heists, some bank robberies, some kidnappings. He's one part freedom fighter, one part bank robber. They call him the Greek Robin Hood. And as we find out, he's going to be very good at not going to jail. And when he does go to jail, he's going to be very good at getting out of jail. We're going to take a really quick break. And before we go, I would like to do a little quote from him, from his book. He says, "I never legislated, I never enforced, I never obeyed any laws. Laws dictated by the interests of a handful of rulers. I came across their laws everywhere, but I never found justice. I'll remain with the unique ones, the uncatchables." We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about Vassilis Paleokostas. All right, welcome back to Badass of the Week. I am here with Todd Weiser, and Todd, we're talking about, we're going to start in Greece, and this is kind of a more modern heist. You, for your show, have done... You jump all over time periods, right? When you talk about great heists from history.
That's right. I mean, it's funny. The majority of them feel 30, 40, 50 years ago, but we did do, train robbery. Obviously, we together did an Old West one as well. We did cover the Louvre heist, which just happened. We did some special episodes on that. But we just did, these episodes are not out yet. They might be out by the time this episode comes out. We just did our heist from longest ago and our most recent. We did a heist from California where someone broke in through the roof of a candy store and then stole jewelry through the wall of the jewelry store next to it. And then we did one, that was from last year. And then we just did one from 1775, which is kind of like our big July 4th founding father story about stealing gunpowder from Bermuda to provide George Washington's army with gunpowder while he was fending off the British.
Wow.
So just did our oldest and our most recent, and maybe one day we'll do a biblical heist. I don't know. Or we'll do one live at some point. It's happening now. We're following it now.
We're currently stealing Starry Night.
Yes, exactly. No, it's not me. I just happened to be here. Yeah,
no, it was dramatic. It was First Amendment. I'm allowed to make jokes about it. I know the painting's gone, and it happened pretty similarly to the way we live tweeted it. But
maybe I'll be a witness one day at least.
Yes.
Put me on the stand. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a more recent one, which is something we don't do that often on the show. But I always say that, like, if I write about the guy or talk about the guy before his story is over, maybe I'll miss some badass stuff. And that is kind of true, because I wrote about this story when, I think maybe for my website, it was like maybe 2009. I think I wrote about this on my website. And a lot of crazy stuff has happened since then. So, okay, so we're in modern times. The story begins in the mountains of the Trikala region of central Greece. Vassilis is born in 1966 to a poor family of shepherds. And he's kind of growing up very poor. And it's a time in Greece over the last few years that the Greek economy is having a really difficult time. I don't know if you've seen some of the news articles and stuff on this over the years, of like riots about austerity measures and all of that, right? So in order to understand why Vassilios goes to war with the system, we have to first look at how rigged the Greek economy is for him and his family and the people from his village growing up. This isn't a couple of corrupt politicians doing bad things. This is institutionalized. It is cash under the table. They have a word for it. It's so institutionalized that there's a word for it. They call it the applique.
Not a good sign. Not a good sign. It's part of, really a part of the culture. Then you have a word for literally how much corruption is going on.
Yes.
Just accepted. I mean, it's just accepted. It's like, oh, it's just, takes too many words otherwise. Let's just give it one word.
Yeah. It's not just corruption. It's the applique, which is, industrialists, media, politicians, judges, courts, everybody's in on it. And everybody kind of gets whatever the elite ruling class gets everything that they want, and everybody else is left to be taxed into oblivion to pay down the national debts that are being run up by these corrupt people. Okay, you have the construction people, the shipping magnates, the industrial kings. They get tax exemptions. They collude to work against labor strikes. They basically withdraw money from the national treasury like it's an ATM. And then the banks approve this. They approve like crazy loans for people who can't, or for politicians who aren't going to plan on paying it back. They help out their corporate cronies. Everything is kind of rigged against Vassilios and his family personally. These people from the mountains who are farmers and shepherds, and they need a loan to buy a new tractor and they can't get it, yet the banks are bailing out all of these politicians and everything. This is what's been happening over the past few years. You have riots, you have there was their economy was crashing, they were crashing the euro for a while. Big problems. I mean, not to get political, and I don't think I am, but like it does feel like this is happening in more and more countries. Like Greece is not alone. So I wonder if other countries are now adopting the word diaploki for their own, like, oh, we're having our own version of this Greek, so you're going to be seeing Robin Hoods in a lot of other countries. Yeah, maybe. I mean, it is, this part of the world has suffered from that a lot. Even Moldova, Ukraine in the past, other areas from Eastern Europe have been suffering a lot of corruption, especially like in the post-Soviet era. Now, what are Vassilios' options? He can submit to, a lifetime of economic servitude for a system that hates him, or he can break the machine entirely. And because we're talking about him on the show, I think you can guess what direction he went. Yeah. If he chose the other way, this would be a really short episode. So I'm glad we have things to talk about. Yeah, he's a corporate wage slave. He does his job. He does a 9 to 5, doesn't get to collect his 401k. But it's all in his mind. He imagines what he could have been. And that's what's inspiring. Not inspiring. I should use the word inspiring. That's what's invigorating about the story. No, he chose option B, but I know we talked about he wasn't a lone wolf. He did partner with, his older brother, Nikos. It's good to partner in a family-run business. Always good to partner with family. And together they did, declare war on the Greek economic system. I think a lot of people wanted to do that, and he was able to take that consensus and be the head of the head of the spear. Is that what it? No, tip of the spear. Tip of the spear. Yeah. Tip of the spear. Thank you. Yes, not officially, but this is what they were doing, and this is what they were telling themselves. And again, not saying it out loud though, really. Right. Because there's legal repercussions. So they were bank robbers, but if he would ever say why he was doing what he was doing, then that would tiptoe into the world of terrorism, which comes with a lot more charges than just bank robbery. Right. So that is a dangerous, again, we know from other conversations and the way he acted that this is why he did it. It wasn't just for the money. He had greater reasons, but was not going to publicly go out with that. So exactly. Well, you can't be, he can go out and be Robin Hood and rob banks and give the money away, which is what he's going to do throughout the story. But he doesn't, in his own writings, his own talk, he's always just like, I was just doing it for the money. Because as soon as he said, like, I was against the system, now he's an enemy of the state. He's a terrorist. Right. Yeah, like you said, a whole bunch of new charges. But actions speak louder than words, so we know what he actually did. And we also just point out that he was very good at this. Yes. It wasn't just like he had the emotional inspiration inside him. It was like, no, he knew how to scope out blind spots and faults, security flaws.
And his brother Nikos, actually an amazing getaway, driver. Steve McQueen-esque, if you would. So, although we should say did just drive. Apparently, he manipulated physics. Dirt trails, hidden gorges. Like it wasn't just like normal. Hey, I know how to handle a steering wheel. Like they were quite a team, and together started hitting state-owned banks across the country with really like amazing dexterity, precision, and success.
Yes. So they decide we're not going to get jobs and just to have our pension funds looted by the government. We are going to rob banks. And that's what they do. So they'll rob banks. And like you said, Nikos will drive them through all like the goat paths of the Trikala Mountains. And because these are kind of local boys, they don't get, when the cops come around, are like, where those bank robbers go? This is not an area that has security camera footage 24/7 on every street light. This is not an area where the police have like this huge presence. So when they do go looking around being like, who hit that bank? Everybody in town is like, I don't know what you're talking about. Vasili's who? What? Huh? I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, I think that's really interesting because we just told the story of a 1970s bookie heist in Australia. And even then there were no cameras. And my co-host was very much like, those were the times. I was like, did you want to rob banks then? He's like, no, just like it was different. But it is true. Like we've told plenty of stories. There's a lot of robberies in the UK, especially in London. And a lot of them don't get away with it for long, obviously, because there's so much CCTV footage. It's just so easy. Like, there's a lot of complicated, planning in terms of pulling it off. And in general, we tell stories, of course, of them pulling it off, but then they get to spend their riches. Like 2 days later, they're all caught. A month later, they're all caught. Like it is different when you're looking at an earlier time, or in certain cases when you're in a rural setting where there's not cameras everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So this is kind of the early 90s rural Greece mountains. And these guys are, they have this goodwill because they're local kids. But, as you've come across, I imagine, too, like robbing banks is not a profession that everybody is super into. So what do these guys do? They don't just rob banks. They don't just use their earnings to buy gold change and Italian sports cars, which they do that, but they also take whatever's left over after their Lamborghini payment. They invest the money back into the areas that they're from. They literally drive through like poor villages, throwing wads of cash out the window of their car. They pay off medical bills for people. They buy tractors for farmers that can't afford them. They fund dowries for orphans. That's a thing that was still happening, I guess, in the 90s in Greece.
Okay.
They, Nikos especially, like, will go out into the countryside and ask, like, who needs help, who's suffering, who's having trouble, and these guys will rob banks, and they'll give a percentage of their stolen loot back into the villages. And yes, that is some Robin Hood stuff, and that also earns them the goodwill that when the Greek authorities show up and are like, "Hey, have you guys heard of where's Vasilis?" People are like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's funny. It is Robin Hood. It also reminds me of a mafia boss a little.
Yes.
I'm not saying mafia bosses don't do all of these good things, but there is a lot of like, they are seen as a pillar of the community. They're handing out money. You need a loan. Here you go. I mean, maybe that you want to pay back that loan, but like, and obviously, and there's also a lot of shakedowns of mob bosses. But also, I think about like literally Goodfellas, like Paul
the old school mafia stuff, like in Sicily,
handing out money. Everyone gets these big tips and everything. It's like, oh, what a nice guy. He's what a great customer. No, why would you rat on someone like that? So there's a little bit of that here. It feels
this guy tips me 400% on my dinners that I make for him.
Yes.
Yeah, like you said, perfect example is of that, right? This early like Sicilian mafia, because in New York they're still kind of piggybacking on that goodwill, but in the early days of Cosa Nostra, like that's a lot of what that was people were robbing from the rich and giving it back into their community. Mm-hmm. And yeah. Paleokostas writes in his book, he says, the state calls me a thief because I take paper money from a vault that belongs to no one. Yet they protect the industrialists who steal the actual lives, health, and futures of thousands of families every day through the stroke of a pen. If taking back what was stolen from the earth makes me a criminal, then I accept the title with pride. That's pretty badass.
He says everything with a flourish, he's not, I mean, he feels like a very compelling person easy to get behind when you say words like this as well as he does.
Yes. I do think you should pay back the loan if he gives you a loan.
Oh yeah. Good point. Good point. Still play it safe. Yes. He's got his fancy car he could drive you over with, or has other people that would do that for him. Yeah. But, by the, early 90s, though, to jump forward a little bit, they kind of got, I guess, I don't want to say got sick of local banks and rob, but it became easy for them. And the Greek police also quite desperate, were kind of looking for him everywhere. His face was on every television screen. So everyone knew him. No, he was not a ghost. He was not a ghost. People knew, okay, how do we find him if anyone would ever talk? So
right, he's not going off a nickname here. There's no nickname. There's no police sketch art. Like there's a picture of him on TV, and they're offering a reward. So all you need is one person to be like, he was a little rude to me the other day. And rat him out.
Yeah. So maybe have to be a little bit more careful with what he's doing. So they make the interesting choice of graduating to high society kidnappings. I'm not sure that's where everyone would go with it, but this is the way he goes with it, and it's an interesting plan. And they're also quite good at this, to be honest. And not just picking random names or, randomly picking people off the street. They definitely targeted like the peak of the food chain, which makes sense. These people they're after, the titans of industry, people that he was criticizing and maybe were exploiting the most out of all the exploitative people. These were the worst.
Right,
and,
right. The people who were in the news. He's going after like the guys who were in the news for being bad to their employees and stuff, right?
Mass layoff. You're the one who did this. How many people are out of work now? Again, this has echoes of today, but also many other eras where you're like, hey, I know the CEO who did that. I know the person who did that. So this was a political statement reclaiming capital from the top to fund the bottom, even if, again, he's not going to say out loud, it's a political statement. And then in 1995, they targeted Alexander Haitoglu, who was a wealthy, high-profile industrial CEO in northern Greece. Vassili and Nikos spent months tracking Haitoglu's patterns. So again, they're good at this. This is not willy-nilly movement. They're putting the time and effort into it. And like many people, he had a predictable habit. And for his, it was every single morning, he would leave his office in the industrial sector of, actually, I don't know how to pronounce it. Thessaloniki? Is that what it is?
Thessaloniki? I'm not sure.
Do you know Greek? How's your Greek, Ben?
My ex-wife was Greek. I learned like 4 words of it.
Should we get her on the phone?
Yeah, I'll call her up. I'm sure she'd love to hear from me.
So, see how that goes. Everyone just pay attention. We'll see. Oh, nope. Okay, didn't go well. Ben's already off the phone. Thessaloniki, and he drives himself along the exact same route. This is also very like cinematic. You kind of like follow them along, and the next day what they're going to do. No bodyguards, does it various times. So trust his routine, doesn't think anyone's going to come for him. Little does he know. And the night of the strike, the brothers waited for Haitoglu to hit a relatively quiet, dark stretch of road. Of course, they planned it out beforehand. And they didn't just rush his car at a red light. They used a classic tactical pincer movement. We've actually talked about this on my podcast before, too. So as Haitoglu's luxury car, cruises down the road, Nikos had a stolen car. He pulls out of a side street, cuts directly across the lane, forcing him to slam on his brakes. Like cops do this now, or have done this, depending on their level of training. Before he could put his car in reverse to back out, the second stolen vehicle goes right behind him. He's pinned in, completely boxed in. Good luck. So scary, probably scary. But also, he was just cruising away, listening to his music, had no idea this was going to happen. And then 3 masked men, step out of the shadows. It's a team effort here. And then Vassilis and his crew didn't smash the windows or drag him out by his hair. They're very professional-like. Approach the car, open the door, address him by first name. Again, courteous, if you would. This is his reputation. We're not surprised.
Mr. Haitoglu.
Yes. How are you this evening? Anything like that. Nice car. Hopefully we didn't damage it too much, but you're coming with us, basically.
Yeah.
Because they inform, if he cooperates, they say he'll be home for Christmas. But if you panic, things will get complicated. Also, it feels a little mafia again, right? Like come along easy and nothing bad will happen to you or your family. So Haitoglu steps out on the vehicle. He's listening to them. And then he's guided to the back seat of a getaway car, blindfolded, and it took about 90 seconds less. So they are pros. And he did not put up a fight. And again, no one's on the road and no one's seeing a thing.
Not bad for your first kidnapping, right? It's their first because they've robbed banks, right?
Right.
And I guess
That's
they have
right.
getaway.
It's the first one.
They have getaway experience. And they're like, okay, well, let's kidnap somebody for a ransom. Who do we go with? Like one of the richest men in Greece. We'll just hit him in the street. It's amazing. Like you said, like your show, people mess this sort of thing up all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Even experienced people. There's so many things that can go wrong in a situation like this. And
some of it's also like who you hire. Like it's not just the 2 brothers. Like, they have help here. And clearly they have people they trust who are professional about it too. There's no, wild card in the mix, like doing the wrong thing and accidentally firing a gun or whatever it is. Like, they definitely planned it out and they followed their plan. And luckily they had a very rich man who was willing to listen, and he understood the fear of God was put in him, and like he wants to live through Christmas. So there he goes.
Yeah. And so they get him, and that's it. They swap a couple cars and they're gone.
Yeah, which is also impressive. I mean, I think that's always something. I mean, we saw this with Butch Cassidy and the horses, remember? Like, he'd drive horses a certain length, they'd hop onto the other horse. Like, this is smart planning. First of all, I mean, horses can get tired, but also you could, someone sees a horse, or in this case, someone sees a car, they think someone's in it, but if you switch enough, no one knows who you're following or where you went. And even if there was CCTV, you see this in the movies, right? You pull into like a parking garage, a different car pulls out.
Like a baby driver kind of situation.
Good luck. Yeah. So they swap the cars. The police is nowhere nearby, and they go to a fortified safe house deep in the familiar folds of the Trikala Mountains. So, very abandoned as well. But this is the area they know, and maybe the police do not know as well. And they scoop at the toe. Yeah. And now, normally we should say and as we kind of referenced this already, but you would think getting kidnapped is a very terrifying, traumatic experience, but not for Vassilis. No. The polite gentleman through and through. In his memoir, he noted his absolute disdain for standard criminal brutality. He wrote that his team operated with a strict self-imposed code of honor. And there's a quote: "The weapon of the professional outlaw is his mind. If you must use violence, you have already failed the heist." This is also like Butch. Butch also never fired his weapon, right?
Yeah.
Until he got to South America, then he finally had to. But again, this is like, I've seen this too, and maybe we talked about this before. It's like, also, if you shoot someone or you kill someone, whatever, immediately the cops come for you that much more, right? Stealing money or getting money is definitely a bad thing, but depending on whose money it is, they might care more than not. But as soon as you're, a threat to the public in a bigger way, whatever it is, then all of a sudden it's like, whoops, that was a mistake. Now they're really going to come for us. So it's smart, and it's also civil, but they're very forward thinking in that way.
Yeah, but you don't want to be a violent murderer. Like once you're a murderer, right, like that's the worst thing you've done, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's not terrible to have that reputation, perhaps, right? Like if someone thinks, oh, that's why Butch is here, I'm not going to mess with, that's why Sundance is here, I'm not going to mess with Butch because he's got Sundance. And it just makes everything run that much easier when you have the threat. But like actually shooting something or resorting to violence is when things get ugly and mistakes get made. Yeah.
Okay, so they've got Heitaglu, and now they have to coordinate this ransom, which also is a thing that like entire movies are made about. You've kidnapped this person, and now you have to figure out what to do with them. You've got them alone. You got to figure out the ransom. The cops are involved. Like his family's involved. He's a very rich guy, and he's very politically connected.
I mean, luckily he's got the money, right? So that's a key thing here. Is when you have enough money that even, they were asking for 260 million drachma here. So
yeah, it's a couple million US,
which is a lot. But when you're dealing with someone who has multi, it's a lot, but their life means more. So the family did pay the ransom, and Nikos handled the laundering and distribution, filtering huge chunks of the wealth right back into the local mountain economy, just like they planned. And Heitaglu later commented, "My kidnapper's behavior was not bad at all. I was not scared for myself. Actually, I enjoyed some wide-ranging discussions with them." Unbelievable. This is unbelievable. Like, he actually gained the respect.
Yeah.
And then Vassilis wrote that when he dropped Heitaglu off after the speech was over, he said, "Guys, if only it didn't cost that much, I'd very much like to have another adventure with you." I don't know. Maybe, if you're being treated that way, you're maybe a lot more likely to tell your business manager, your family, like, oh, these guys aren't that bad. Just give them the money. It's okay. They'll actually help things. And I mean, it must be interesting also to be such a hated man and all of a sudden get along with the people who hate you the most. So seeing eye to eye, I don't know, it feels like a Kurosawa film or something. There's some level of like high and low here that's fascinating.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess even in Robin Hood, he's like nice to to the sheriff, and that's how he meets Marion, right? Like
that is true. Good point. If we're gonna go through with the Robin Hood story, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. So he kidnaps this guy. He gets 260 million drachma. I think it's like something like $5 million or something, but 260 million drachma sounds better. Sounds more impressive.
More dramatic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so he's being even more hotly pursued by the police. And he's able to evade them for 4 more years. In 1999, he gets in a car accident he gets badly injured in a car accident. The authorities find him. They are excited. They lock him away in Korydallos prison. which is like the maximum security. It's their Leavenworth, right? It's their number one maximum security fortress. Okay, great. We got this guy. We've been searching for him for a long time. Now he's captured. Now, this is where the story gets really interesting. Because Vasilis is not going to stay there for very long. He is going to escape. And we're going to tell the story of his escape when we get back from this break. So now we've kind of set him up. We're gonna start getting into the really nutty parts of the story.
Really unbelievable. Truly unbelievable.
Yes. So we'll be right back. So stick with us. All right. Welcome back to Badass of the Week. It is now June of 2006, and we're in Korydallos prison in Greece. It's a maximum security prison for bank robbers, kidnappers, murderers, bad guys. A bunch of inmates are enjoying yard time in the prison yard when they hear the sound of a helicopter approaching. The helicopter comes flying over. Everybody's kind of looking at it. The guards are looking at it. The guys in the yard are looking at it. This helicopter flies over and it starts to land in the prison yard. Now, everybody at this time is thinking, this is somebody important, right? I don't know what's happening here. Somebody's here to see the warden, some politician.
This must have been approved. This is an official visit of something. Yes. Completely.
Nobody would be crazy enough to just fly a helicopter into the prison, right?
No.
The helicopter lands in the prison yard, and Vassili Paleokostas and his friend, this Albanian guy named Alket Rizai, they get into the helicopter and close the door, and the helicopter takes off and flies away. There is a pilot and there is a woman sitting in the passenger seat. These two guys get in the heli and they take off and fly away. And nobody even made an attempt to stop them.
Astounding. I mean, I don't know what the guards are doing. I mean, they're just looking up in awe. I get, it feels, I wouldn't believe it. If it was in a movie, I wouldn't believe it.
No. Vasilis writes about it. He says, we climbed into the sky and I looked down at the courtyard. The guards looked like ants, frozen in place, holding their rifles as if they had forgotten what they were for. It is amazing how quickly the illusion of absolute state power dissolves when you are looking at it from 300 feet in the air. And he flies away and disappears. They search for him. And for the next 2 years, there's no sign of it.
Yeah. So he goes back to work, like this is what he does. And he didn't want to be locked up. And now he's not fleeing the country and going to Fiji or something and living out the rest of his days and being like, I don't want to go back there. He's like, no, I'm on a mission. So in June 2008, he pulled off his absolute piece de resistance, the kidnapping of Yorgos Milanas, a billionaire aluminum tycoon and the sitting president of the Association of Industries in Northern Greece. So another head honcho, another important guy.
He's the man with like, when people are like, I'm being oppressed by the man, he's the man.
And you would think at this point, all these tycoons would be like burying up their patterns and have the most security ever, especially when Vasilis is like out again, like he did it once, but no. Vasilis puts his crew together and they spend weeks tracking Yorgos, of course, once again learning his neighborhood, his where the security is, where it isn't, and knowing all like where the police is and where they're supposed to be. So they knew exactly when he left work, what route he took, precisely who was most vulnerable. Basically doing the same thing again, but for a completely different person. Which, I mean, again, you must be fascinating. It's a fascinating person who could do this and be patient enough to know the moment and map it out. So they know the moment, and around 10:30 p.m. that day, Milonas and his wife pulled into the driveway of their home in the very affluent neighborhood, of course, of Panorama. Cool name. The garage door was opening, and the couple was thinking about it's dinner time. We're just gonna go in and have a normal night, catch some TV, whatever they're gonna do, whatever billionaire Greeks do. And suddenly a stolen SUV. Yeah, I'd watch that. And then suddenly a stolen SUV tears up the street, blocks the end of the driveway, completely trapping the vehicle. Again, they have an MO here. They know what they're doing. They got away with it once, and it's working again.
Yep. Yeah, same deal. I think three guys get out. They walk up to the car. Vasilis taps on the glass. Excuse me, sir. Sorry, miss. Don't want to interrupt your evening, but you're coming with me. He says, Mr. Milonas, please step out of the car. We have no interest in hurting you or your wife. This is about your money, not your life. And
also rhymes. I don't know if it rhymes in Greek, but it rhymes in English at least.
That's
so
true.
He's like, yeah.
He rapped it. Yeah.
He rapped it. That's right. Yeah. He's like, so many skills.
This guy's good at everything. So, yeah, Milonas is looking. These guys are armed. They're not sticking the guns in his face, but they are holding them. And that's enough for him. He's like, all right, these guys have, some machine guns. They have black cars. I'm going to they're polite enough. Sorry, honey, I'll be right back. I got to go with these guys.
Yeah, they left the wife there, which is also actually a good sign, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they take him, they leave the wife. She immediately is on the phone with the police, but it doesn't matter because these guys, by the time the cops show up, they're gone. Yeah, same deal. Going down back streets. They've pre-planned the escape route. They've probably got one thing that doesn't get talked about too much is I imagine these guys are so well connected with the people they're Robin Hooding for that this car happened to block that intersection at the perfect right time. And,
Yeah.
In the movie version of this, there's a lot of civilians in there helping this happen.
I say it's like the Italian Job where the car pulls right in front of the gate before they get there and it's all perfectly timed. I mean, they could do that, right? They have the people and the people are going to get the money in the end.
That's right. The police response time was under 10 minutes and these guys were gone. The whole thing took 2 minutes total before they were just kind of gone away. And same thing, Milonas talks a little bit more about his captivity. And it's he's not blindfolded. He's not tied to a chair. He's not locked in a closet. He's not sleep deprived. They're not interrogating him or torturing him. He and Vasilis and Nikos go to some luxury house. They're chilling on the couch. They're eating fancy dinners. They're watching movies. They're drinking great whiskeys, top shelf whiskey, lighting up premium cigars. They're having philosophical debates about economic disparity and stuff. Vasilis is trying to talk to him about the plight of the working man in Greece. And Milonas is kind of into it. They have, they have, he later says oh, he made me think about the plight of the working man.
Vasilis is really good at this. I mean, clearly Vasilis can enjoy the riches of the elite, but he still has the understanding of what the common man is going through and what they need. So is there any better person to connect with the Milonases, the billionaires of Greece? I don't know. It's, and
that's a really good point.
And maybe it's the only way to have a conversation with them, right? You can't get them to openly debate it otherwise. So I guess I got to kidnap you so we can talk about it.
Yeah, I'll kidnap you. I'll talk to you about, what's going on in this country because regular people are suffering. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Vasilis he's not giving all of his money away, right? He is smoking fine cigars and drinking fine whiskey and eating nice meals and driving fancy cars. But he also, is trying to provide for the people of his town. And maybe he can impart some of that on them. The Milonas gives a really bizarre interview after he's released. Milonas' family gets together the ransom, which is 12 million euros, which is way more than, I don't know how many drachma that is, but it's more.
Hundreds and hundreds of millions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They drop Milonas off at a bus stop, I think. And then they give him some money to get a cab to wherever he needs to go.
Yeah.
And then Milonas does an interview for Greek TV after being rescued or after being freed. And it sounds like a Yelp review. He's he was incredibly polite, really cultured, treated me with respect. We had a lot of good conversations about politics and economics.
Should there be a Yelp for hostages? That'd be a really interesting. I mean,
StockholmSyndrome.com.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, and so
not a lot of middle. It's all positive reviews or negative. There's not a lot of 2.5s or 3s on StockholmSyndrome.com.
It's okay. Carjacking. I don't know.
I've had better. Yeah.
Cannot recommend. Yeah. So that was that happens. They do manage to track down Vasilis again. 12 million euro. It doesn't matter how well you clean that. Something's going to point to at some point. They track Vasilis down again in late 2008, and they bring him back to Korydallos prison. They double up his guard detail. They've got him set for trial in February. It's trial is coming up.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's the toughest prison in all of Greece, but he already broke out of it once and made it look so easy. So the idea that they put it back in the same, yes, double the guard detail, but what did the guards do last time? The guards literally just watched it happen. So I think Vassilis took it as a personal insult. Like, you guys don't even respect me and what I do. So
like, it's our best prison. I don't know, man.
guess what he's gonna do again, you know? So, but this time
maybe he'll shake it up this time. Maybe he'll do it in a different way.
Yeah, you would at least think they would like okay, have be on helicopter watch, right? At least they could do something. So this time the grand escape plan wasn't orchestrated from a mountain cave, though. It was engineered by a mysterious, unnamed woman known by the alias Alexandra. Ben and I tried to find out what her real name is. No one knows. Alexandra, at least we have an alias.
We still don't know who she is. Yeah, I have no idea who this woman is.
No one knows today, exactly. And this is, like I said, you almost told this story years ago. You wanted to wait to get more information. We do have a lot more information, but not this. She is still
in her name.
An enigma. She's a mystery out there.
Probably the same woman from the first helicopter escape.
You would think so, right? I mean, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe he's got parades of women around him. I don't know, but she that was her test run. Now she's like, I got it myself this time, because she poses as a wealthy businesswoman to charter a commercial helicopter. Ridiculous. She's charting it for weeks, though, and mapping out the fuel weight and the prison's blind spots. And then on the afternoon of Sunday, February 22nd, 2009, the day before Vassilis' trial, she pulled an AK-47 assault rifle and a live hand grenade mid-flight. I think we have to do a whole episode just about Alexandra.
I know, right?
She is something else.
She gets this guy to fly her around like several times, and then like after they were like really familiar, I guess she didn't have to do the metal detector anymore.
At a certain point, he's like, whatever you need, right?
She's smuggling AK and a grenade onto the helicopter.
He's just impressed, I guess, right? He's just like, wow, I guess you're okay, whatever you say. So but he hovers directly over Korydallos, and the guards drew their weapons this time. They opened fire, so the guards are doing more than last time. A hail of bullets that shatter the chopper's windshield, actually punctures the fuel tank too. So, dangerous, scary. Alexandra doesn't care. She kicks open the side door, throws a rope ladder down to Vassilis, and leaned completely out of the open chopper cabin to basically asserting dominance. And then bullets are buzzing past her face. She raises her AK-47, sprays targeted bursts back at the guards, clips one guard's holster. That's quite a shot. Vassilis grabs the ladder, climbs up to the sky, like what? He's like a stunt performer now or something. This is like a Tom Cruise movie. And then he flips off the prison guards. By the way, good to know flipping off is also a thing in Greece. Flips them the bird, and then they fly to a nearby cemetery. They bind the pilot safely, so they're nice enough to him. They bind him, and they don't hurt him. They vanish onto motorcycles that, of course, are waiting at the cemetery for them to ride, because these people are just the best planners out there. It's crazy. What a scene. What a scene.
I'm picturing like the Baroness from like G.I. Joe, like the door kicks open and she's just like spraying machine gun, spraying an assault rifle into the towers and stuff, like the double guard detail.
Apparently that was realistic. Apparently everything she did could do that. Apparently Alexandra is the real life inspiration.
Yeah. The media loves this. They call it the articles, like the headlines in Athens are great. Like Korydallos helipad now open for business. One of them says Paleokostas 2, the state 0.
Amazing. Brutal.
He did it twice. He escaped that prison in a helicopter twice. They throw it on a rope. It's like a movie. He's flying out. He's hanging off on a rope ladder. They're shooting at him. He's giving him the finger.
I mean, they also did finally, they fired the general secretary of the ministry, the inspector general of prisons.
Everybody's fired.
Prison.
Prison governor.
Maybe that should have happened the first time. You were so embarrassed the first time. You think, there's a lot of places that we tell stories of, right? Like the Louvre, et cetera. It's like people lose their jobs for this kind of thing. You just, whether it's all on them or not, like someone has to come in and make things right. And in this case, it took two. It took 2 times.
The second time he escaped by helicopter from the same prison in the same place.
Yeah.
Everybody's fired.
Unbelievable.
The TV is having the TV reporters are like laughing on air trying to tell the story. It's so great, and there's another part to this. The governor of Korydallos prison, I think he was also like arrested for negligence. Like they brought misdemeanor charges against him for like being bad at his job, because in 2006, after the helicopter landed and Vassilis escaped on it, the government bought anti-helicopter nets to put over top of the courtyard so that couldn't happen again. And the governor of the prison had these nets, but they were still sitting in the warehouse because the bureaucracy of the government couldn't figure out which department was responsible for paying for those nets. So nobody wanted to pay for the anti-helicopter nets. And
this story does not paint a good picture of Greece's government or its economy, obviously, too. But like through and through, they're just dropping the ball. Mm-hmm. And also, but we should say, like, you know, the TV anchors laughing on air and stuff. I think it's easy because it's Vassilis, you know? Like if it was like a cold-blooded murderer who did it, it'd be crazy and impressive, but it wouldn't be fun or funny. But because he's doing what he does with such flair and giving money back, like the people really do root for him.
That's a great point.
It's easier to laugh at the government and what they're going through.
If Jeffrey Dahmer had escaped by helicopter shooting a machine gun at people, everybody would have a complete meltdown, right? Everybody be scared.
I guess it would technically be badass, but it'd also be like, be like terrifying at the same time.
Yeah, look out, right?
Yes. Yeah.
These people are cheering. They're excited. They're happy about it. It's funny. Yeah. They're enjoying it. Everybody's having a good time except for the politicians who look like idiots, but they've been doing bad things, so F them. Yeah,
they deserve it. They're embarrassed as much as they should be.
Right. So this was around the time I wrote the article for my website many, many years ago, right after this happened. It was 2009 or 2010 or something. But that wasn't the end of the story. So in 2011, a highway patrol spots Vassili's driving a stolen SUV near Athens. They do a high-speed chase. So he runs. They're chasing him. They start shooting at him. He starts shooting it back at them. Although every version of this, including like the police reports, are like he's leaning out the window and he's shooting at the police cars, but he's aiming his pistol at their tires. He's trying to like shoot the tires out of their car, or he's not trying to put bullets into windshields and things. He's not trying to hurt anybody. He's just trying to stop them from chasing him. So he's able to shoot the tires out of a couple police cars. They're going like 80 down the highway. Nobody is killed or wounded in the shootout. He manages to get away by disabling some police cars by shooting out their tires, escapes into the dense brush of the mountains, and is gone. He escapes. This never happens, right? You never see this. That it's a high-speed police chase. They found him. There's a shootout. There's a chase, and he escapes on foot, and they can't find him.
I'd say it's like DB Cooper-esque or something, you know, although we don't know whatever happened to DB. We don't know if he survived or not. But it's just like the situation where you're like, no way, you would never survive that. But yeah, Vassilis did.
Vassilis got away. And this is 2011. Like they probably had a helicopter or something, right? They must have had some way of trying to track this dude. You know, they didn't just be like, oh, he's gone. There must have been some sort of manhunt.
They also better have a helicopter after... No, I'm not saying helicopters need to chase helicopters, but at this point, everyone, you know, they should have helicopters all around ready to go.
Yeah. And this one was a little bit more sketchy for him because I feel like I wanted to make the joke that he probably had motorcycles hiding for him in the mountains there, but he probably didn't because he wasn't expecting to be involved with this. Right. But maybe he just has motorcycles hidden everywhere in Greece.
Right, exactly. It's like James Bond. Everywhere he goes, there's a gun hiding somewhere in town, and there's a car waiting for him. Yeah.
He just always carries with him a key ring with 87 motorcycle keys on it. Wait, is this
or he has this Q who has somehow adopted one key that works for all motorcycles.
Oh, that's how you would do that in the movie. It'd be kind of silly to have him with the janitor ring.
That's right.
So that's it. 2011. He's not seen again. And people are like, okay, that's it. He's buried in a mountain bunker. He went to Brazil. He's on a beach somewhere. I don't know where this guy is. We can't find him. You know, is he dead? Did he die in those mountains trying to escape the police?
Yeah.
He's gone for 10 years. There's no sign of him until
the myth just grows and grows though during that time.
Right. Like you said, DB Cooper, like what happened to this guy? Whatever, you know, escape the prison, maximum security prison twice in helicopters, but now he's gone.
Yeah.
In November 2021, there is a new sign of Vassili Paleokostas. That sign is his autobiography is published by an anarchist publisher called Frida Press.
Incredible.
Where he writes his entire autobiography detailing decades running circles around international intelligence systems, Interpol, the Greek authorities, and he narrates his story. Much of what we have comes from this book. It's called A Normal Life. And he's got a great quote in there. He says, "They call it an unlawful life, but to me, refusing to let the state dictate your freedom is the only normal life there is. They have the prisons, the courts, and the guns. But we have the mountains, the truth, and the open sky." And that's it. We haven't heard from him since. He's still out there. He's been a free man since he climbed that rope ladder. There's a multi-million euro international bounty for information on him, but not a single person has ever ratted him out.
I was gonna say, how old was he? He's he was born in this, what was
66, I think. So
yeah. So he's almost 50
60.
when he retires.
He'd be 60 this year.
60 now, yeah.
Happy 60th birthday to Vassili Paleokostas, wherever you are.
In honor of his birthday.
Yeah.
I mean, so I just wonder, did he just feel like he was too old for it, or he had too many close calls? Especially the last one was such a close call.
Mm-hmm.
So I say that because in some ways it's sad, right? Because who's fighting the system now, or is it like V for Vendetta, and he's got these legions of fans who now serve in his honor? But he really quite a statement and actually connected with a couple of the aristocracy there to compel them one-on-one. So I mean, he couldn't do it forever. That's not realistic. And he obviously inspired people to a degree, but it's interesting he just finally let it go at a certain point.
Yeah, I mean, that last heist was 12 million euros. So I mean, even if you give half that away, probably can
he's
retire
still fine.
That.
Yeah, he did. I mean, and that is, a good heister, that is the key, is know when to walk away, right? You've made enough. You're fine. You don't need to don't go back in there. Don't do it. It's fine. Your life is okay. I sometimes feel this way about professional athletes who get injured and try to make comebacks. I'm like, you already made $100 million. Hopefully you saved it well enough. It's don't go back in the field and get another concussion. So
right. We had that with Bush and Sundance. Bush and Sundance went back for more heists.
Well, that's true too, right? They could have just retired, but they couldn't stop robbing banks. It's just who they were.
Mm-hmm. Maybe he's still robbing banks and nobody talks about it, but I haven't seen anything.
Maybe he's somewhere else. Exactly. Maybe when we start telling stories of other heists and since then, I'll be like, he was Vasilis.
Yeah.
Did they see him? Yeah.
Somebody in Moldova is going to get arrested for robbing banks, go to a prison.
That's right.
One morning, you're going to hear the sound of a helicopter approaching from the horizon.
I can't wait to see the footage. I can't wait.
Yeah. So, Todd, what I like to do at the end of these stories is to try to think what's the lesson? What's the badass lesson that we can learn from the story of Vassili Paleokostas, the Greek Robin Hood who robbed from the rich, gave to the poor, and every time he got captured had a dramatic escape. Very Robin Hood. And even the shooting the arrow and the hangman's noose thing. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
It's dramatic escapes. What can we learn from this guy that can make our normal non-badass lives more badass?
Well, again, I go back to the conversations he actually had, when he actually was able to sit down with, he treated them well, treated them with respect, showed he wasn't going to hurt them, and was able to have actual conversations. I don't know, and maybe I could look into this more, if any of those men he kidnapped actually made any differences, right? Did they bring back any workers? Did they change pay for anyone? I don't know if they did. I'd like to think they did, although I also can see them being now I'm back and I still have all this money, and why would I change a thing? I don't know, but it gives me some hope for the world, right? Mm-hmm. That they can at least sit down and have these conversations. I mean, again, I think here in the U.S., you can't even get people on opposite sides of politics to have real conversation.
Right.
How do you force that to happen? So I wish there was more of an arena for the high and the low to have conversations here, because obviously, there's all these, there's all these, for the greater good people, but also it is good for the economy too. I think there's a lot now about the U.S. about how the economy is so good, but it's good for a certain segment of the population, not for everyone.
I mean, you said that getting Americans to can agree on things is difficult, and you're very right about that. But I do feel like maybe these billionaires should pay taxes, and I should pay less taxes. It's pretty across the board.
Yes, that's right. That
robbing a billionaire and giving the money to the grandma down the street from you is I feel like that's not.
Well, I was going to say, it's not a scandalous. That's true. It's not a scandalous thing to say. That's why I'm saying it doesn't have to go straight to kidnapping. Is that if we can actually agree on some of the things before? I mean, I guess we did have Luigi Mangione, right? That is an example of someone actually taking it to the next step, and the class war, being something actually violent. So it has gone there, but in general, it feels like we haven't, and there's not kidnapping. So why can't we come to agreements before things have to become as extreme as kidnappings and
But man, Joe's a
bombings,
great
whatever.
example of like that guy is being sold out as soon as somebody, because like he killed somebody, right? He shot a person.
Yeah.
And Vassilis doesn't. He doesn't do that. He doesn't shoot people. He doesn't kill people. He carries a gun, but he uses it because that means he won't have to do violence if he can threaten it with that. And yeah, it really does kind of speak to this guy being a hero while also being a criminal. I think it's very difficult to do that, especially if you have ever resorted to violence that will stick with you forever. And I think it's interesting that Vassilios was able to avoid that and maintain his kind of cult hero standing in the rural mountains of central Greece.
That's right. I mean, I think a little bit of like Dog Day Afternoon, which is like how quickly you can become a hero to the people. And like you're standing up against the police and you start shouting Attica and stuff. And that was more of a spur of the moment. I mean, he was just stealing the bank. He wasn't trying to be a hero or a symbol for anything. So how quickly you could latch on, where Vassilios really, he put this together. Like he knew what he was doing. It is inspiring. Again, as we know, people, as listeners of Heist Club know, I'm not actually going to rob a bank. But if I did, I would hope that I'm doing it for the same reason Vassilios is and not just for the cash. How about that? You still get to keep some of the cash, though. That's the Vassilios. That's what. Well, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I like good whiskey too. So.
All right, Todd Weiser, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's always so great to talk to you, and I like doing all these fun heists.
Thanks again for having me, Ben. I listen every week, and it's fun that every once in a while I get to hear my own voice. So thank you for having me, and we'll have you back on Heist Club soon too.
Definitely, I'd love to do that. Now, why don't you tell people where they can find you and Heist Club and all of that good social media self-promotion stuff?
At Heist Club Pod on all your social media apps, and then also on YouTube. We release every episode everywhere where you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, also YouTube. And we release a new episode every Wednesday. So, follow us, subscribe, check out episodes, all those things. And we are all, at this point of recording, we are almost finished with our first season, which is about 42 episodes, actually.
Oh, congratulations.
So it's, and we have officially announced, we're doing a second. Yeah. So starting in September, you'll see a second season of new episodes.
Awesome. Well, I am a subscriber and I have been following it, and you guys should too if you think this stuff is cool and you had fun with this episode. If you like this one, we do this every week, and you know where to find us. We are at Badass of the Week. Thanks so much for listening, and until next time, stay badass. Badass of the Week is produced by High Five Content and $7 Productions. Executive producers are Dwayne Johnson, Danny Garcia, Andrew Jacobs, Hiram Garcia, Brian Gewirtz, Frankie Chaparino, and of course, me, Ben Thompson. Writing is by me and my semi-regular but always awesome co-host, Dr. Patricia Larish. Story editing by Ian Jacobs. Our mixing, music, and sound design is done by the incomparable Jude Brewer. Production support by Jean McHale-Waite. Badass of the Week is based on my website, badassoftheweek.com, where you can read all sorts of stories about other badasses. If you want to reach out with questions or ideas, you can email us at badasspodcast@badassoftheweek.com. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, follow, listen, tell your friends, and tell your enemies. And please leave us a review. If you want to support Badass of the Week, please check out our Patreon page. We'll be back next week with another one.